My name is Andrea, if you don't already know. Okay, so if you're new, hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for wanting to learn with me. I appreciate it. I love it. Thank you. If you're not new, hey girl, hey boy, hey them, hey, like what are we doing? How are y'all? Okay, welcome back. Yeah, so like I told y'all last week, right? We're going to talk about the Romanovs, the Romanov family. Okay, have you heard of them? I'm sure you probably have and don't realize it. So, if you've ever seen the DreamWorks movie, animation movie, Anastasia or Anastasia, however you want to pronounce it, yeah, that's based on them. hmm That's how I got introduced to them. But the movie is a cartoon, so it's not historically accurate, but still a good movie. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have seen it, go watch it. Thanks. It's a good movie. Anyways, so that's what we're going to talk about, right? So like I said, the movie isn't historically accurate, but it was a family that did rule Russia, and they ruled Russia, right, for like over 300 years. And the land that this family controlled was literally so big that like when the sun was rising in one part of their land, the sun was setting in the other part of their land. Like that's how vast the Russian Empire was. And this family, the Romanov family, ruled all of it. Shout out to them, or not shout out to them, however you feel about them. I wonder if like I just love them because of like the story of them, you know what I'm trying to say? When you actually like look at it, it's like he really this particular ruler was really a shitty ruler, but the way that yeah, we'll get into it. Anyways, I'm gonna just show y'all real quick how vast their land was. Y'all know I have my cards and my book. Okay, there's another book, but I don't have it with me. Okay, but this was the Russian Empire that they ruled all the way over here, right, by like Sweden and Norway, all the way over here, damn near Japan. Like, this is everything that they ruled, right? Over 300 years. And it came to an end. Came to an end. Why, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. We about to get into it. We're going to figure it out, right? Because it doesn't make sense in my head, right? Because I'm like, y'all had all that land. Y'all had all that power. What happened? You know? But let's get into it, right? So, Tsar Nicholas II. That's who the ruler is. There's a lot of layers to this story. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of somebody married somebody, then that person got killed, but then they found that person, which was really just a lookalike, and then claimed that that was really the person and they actually didn't die. And there was a whole lot of mess going on, okay, with this dynasty here, right? But I'm gonna spare y'all all that. So Tsar Nicholas II, or people also call him Nikolai. Tsar is another word for king. In Russia, it's a Tsar, Tsar. Okay. So this is Tsar Nicholas II, who is the ruler of Russia, right? So he gets sworn in. I don't know what the word is for them, but he gets sworn in, okay, in 1894. So literally, his dad was not teaching his son how to be a king one day. That's just how we're going to put it, right? So his dad was like, didn't really like him, if I'm being honest. What it sounds like, right, in the accounts, it's like he was telling people, like, oh, you want Nicholas to do it? What do you expect Nicholas to do? Because he didn't really respect Nicholas because Nicholas was 5'7" and apparently had like a higher pitch laugh and was just very quiet to himself. So to his dad, he just wasn't a man, and like he doesn't need to come with me to council meetings. He doesn't need to see how I interact with like other diplomatic people. Like it, like he just Nicholas don't need to be around. Like I'm young, I still got at least 20 years under my belt. I don't need to be teaching him nothing right now, basically. So Nicholas is just off living his best life, right? And unexpectedly, the dad gets sick. Shocker, right? And he he knows he's about to die. I think he gets the flu. He knows he's about to die, and he is like, "Shit. All right, well, I guess you got to be king." And yeah, so he before that, Nicholas was in love with Alexandra, this girl Alexandra, and he was in love with her for like 4 years, and his dad wasn't allowing him to pursue it seriously. But when his dad found out he was about to die, he was like, "Look, go ahead, marry her, do your thing, whatever. Like I'm about to die, you have to be king. She gonna be queen. We just gonna go ahead and get all this out the way, right?" His dad dies, and he gets sworn in 1894. He gets married in 1894. His dad dies 1894. All literally within a month of each other. His dad dies. He becomes king and gets married. Boom. They didn't have a honeymoon or anything. They were respectful because the dad just died, right? So they were like, we're not going to do all of that. And the wedding, they didn't have a reception. It was very like they were still in mourning because it was, I think it was like within a couple of weeks of his dad dying. So it was like literally like dad died, funeral, wedding. Yay. Right? Okay, great. Um, so like initially I was like, ooh, his dad died and then he went and got married. Like, ooh, he killed his daddy for real, and was trying to like plot on the throne. No, like I said, they were in love for like 4 years before that. It was one of those situations where it was like her family member was married to one of his family members, so they just happened to be like in the mix around each other a lot, and then fell in love. And then, but the dad wasn't letting them take it serious. So then the dad died. So and he gave the blessing. So I was like, great, now we can be together. I love you so much. And they had a great marriage, allegedly. That they did. I don't know, but allegedly they did. Right? Great. Okay. So, like I said, Nicholas likes to like stay to himself. Right? So he married Alexandra, and Alexandra was a stronger woman, I guess, in the like character sense, but she was also introverted. Like she didn't like to be in the mix either. They weren't going to balls, they weren't having balls, they weren't out and about. They were chill and content in the house with themselves. Great, but not so great, right? Because they were so introverted, they were like completely disconnected from the outside world, if that makes sense. So like they're living in their palace and they're living their chill, comfortable, quiet lives where they need for nothing, want for nothing. And then they don't know what's going on out in the real world. Like they don't know how the common folk live or how they operate or, how things go for them, right? They don't know any of this stuff because they're introverted and they don't really, I don't want to say they don't care, but they're in their own little world. Great. Okay. Got that out the way. It wasn't just Tsar Nicholas and Alexandra, right, who was out of touch with reality for most of the people. Most of the noblemen were too, right? So, um, let me back up. Tsar Nicholas threw a ball, right? Um, 1 year because it was like the anniversary of Russia becoming Russia. So he threw a ball, and um, it was a lavish ball. I'm talking like women wearing gowns of diamonds and pearls and just all of the things. They have like all of these courses of meals and the party going on for hours. Like it was a party of parties. Okay. The same year that Tsar Nicholas threw this ball, this magnificent ball, right? Only, what was it? 4 out of every 5 Russians were peasants. 4 out of every 5 were peasants. Okay. The Tsar Nicholas and Alexandra and the other noble people of the time, they didn't visit any of the peasants' villages. They didn't deal with their hired laborers who like worked their estates or whatever. Um, and most of them envisioned the peasants living in simple yet cozy huts, their cheeks glowing with good health and their teeth whiter than the purest ivory, one of the Russian writers wrote at this time. Um, Amongst the noble people, right, it was a common knowledge to them that the country's fresh foods and clean air made the peasants healthier than the vain city women who sickened themselves with rich food and tortured their bodies with lace corsets and shoes made only for fashion, said another nobleman. Um, yeah, this just goes to show like how out of touch these noblemen and king and queen were, right? Because the reality of it is wild. Okay. So this was written by a 16-year-old named Sinka Kanakova. Kanacheva? I don't know if I said that wrong. I'm sorry. I know I said it wrong. I'm sorry. Um, he wrote. Oh yeah, it's titled "From the Story of My Life." He wrote of his day. He was a peasant, um, turned factory worker. And he wrote, our workday at the factory lasted 11 and a half hours, plus a 1.5 hour lunch break. In the beginning, I would grow terribly tired, so as soon as I got home from work, I would fall into my filthy, hard, straw filled sack and sleep like a dead man, despite the bed bugs and fleas. Ew. He also said, our food was purchased communally and on credit at the factory shop. Our individual shares were assessed twice monthly and taken from our paychecks. Every day at noon, as soon as the factory's lunch bell rang, we would hurry to sit down at a table where a huge basin full of cabbage soup was already steaming. All 15 men ate from a common bowl with wooden spoons. The cabbage soup contained little pieces of meat. Everyone waited tensely for a signal. Then someone would bang his spoon against the soup basin and say the words, dig in. Then began the furious hunt with spoons for the floating morsels of meat. So not only did they share their food, right? They were literally sleeping on the floor with bed bugs and fleas. And 4 out of every 5 Russians were peasants. 4 out of every 5. I'm still just like flabbergasted at that because, well, excuse me, what do you mean? Like, huh? But they're throwing balls and just so living the life. Must be nice. No. Anyways, right? So, due to like the economic hardship of the people, because that's a lot of people, right? To be struggling like that. It's not like it's just like a small number of poor people or less fortunate people. No, 4 out of every 5. Anyways, I'm gonna keep saying that because we got to reiterate 4 out of 5. Okay. So due to the economic hardship of the people, right, and coupled with like political oppression, because like I said, like most noble people or rich people don't want to hear from the less than people. Like they don't care to hear what you have to say. So these people also dealt with political oppression, right? So due to the economic hardship, the political oppression, um, and just not feeling like they had any real representation within the government, right? Because it was an autocratic government. So the Tsar just held all the power. Um, yeah, and just feeling like they didn't have any representation um, in the government, as well as social issues due to a war that they had with Japan. Um, it all boiled up and led to this event, which was gone on to be known as Bloody Sunday. A wild time. So it was on Sunday, January 22nd, 1905. So a large group of people led by Father Gapone gathered. It was a peaceful protest, and they marched down to the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, Russia, with a petition. Basically, all of their grievances written out. It was written in a very respectful tone. All of their grievances written out and solutions that they would like for their grievances, basically. So they get there and they have their it's a peaceful protest, so they have signs and stuff, but it's nothing like crazy. They're not being belligerent or anything. And they get there with their petition, right, and demanding their reform to be made. Um, they get there. The Tsar isn't there. He's not at the Winter Palace right now. Who knows where he is, but he's not there. So they're still gathered, right? They're not like, oh well, he's not home. Like let's leave. No, they are still there, and his soldiers shoot into the crowd. Not, I couldn't find for sure. I saw certain things where it was like the czar told them orders to shoot into the crowd, but then I saw other things that said no, they were acting on their own. They were acting on their own. So yeah, but they ended up shooting into the protesters and killing and injuring like hundreds of people at a peaceful protest, literally just demanding reform for like they literally just can't live like this, honestly. Um yeah, and that became known as Bloody Sunday in Russia. Now, this was really just like a tipping point because then it led to further political type issues, I guess, right? Because it led to the 1905 revolution. So workers are going on strike. People are questioning like the czar's ability to even be czar. Um, there are like peasant revolts out in the countryside. There is mutiny by the soldiers. Um, People are questioning the military strength because they also were at war with Japan, which Russia lost. So the Russians are like, bro, Japan, we lost to Japan. We got all these people, right? We got millions of men. In little tiny Japan, we gonna lose to them? Like, what? Yeah, so they were also questioning like the military strength. Like, okay, so like, I'm confused. Things ain't making sense. And also the fact that like they had lost so many men in this war. They had lost like over 1 million men to this war. And so, mothers and family members are upset with this as well. And it just led to a lot of extra strain put on people, right? They're already unhappy. And now we got all this extra stuff going on. Like now I'm really unhappy. Like you can't even say like, cool, I can't feed you, but your son is out there defending our country and we're winning and we're gonna no, you can't even say that. Like, what are you offering us at this point as your people? What are you offering us? Right? That's kind of like their mindset, it seemed like, right? So the workers and stuff go on strike and they go on I don't want to say a good strike, but 10-day strike, right? Widespread, paralyzed the entire country. So at that point, the czar is like, which he didn't even want to do this. Like his advisor was telling him to do this, and he was like, I don't want to do it. But he did it, right? So it was, he releases the October Manifesto. So he's promising basically a bunch of political reforms, civil liberties, including like the creation of an elected legislative body, which was known as the State Duma. It also guaranteed civil liberties such as freedom of speech, because they used to like censor their stuff, newspapers and such. So it would end all of that censorship. No law could take effect without the Duma's confirmation, sort of like a checks and balances that we have in the United States, and expand the ability to vote, right? So liberals and moderate socialists were definitely like pleased at this progress. So they called off the strikes because they're thinking, all right, great, we're going to see some change now. Bullshit. That's like literally the nicest way I could say it. Like the Tsar literally just started trickling back, trickling back, trickling back. He's like, no, I don't really like that. Or, I don't see how that would be beneficial. And that idea sounds stupid to me. So it's just slowly went right on back to the regular scheduled program of autocratic ruling. So this caused further discontent, obviously, among his people because they're seeing that nothing is happening, nothing is changing. Like you promised these things and now you're not standing on it. So they're like, what is really happening? So on top of all of this, it's like the Tsar Nicholas just kept like turning it up. Like y'all pissed off, I'm gonna add another one. Okay, y'all pissed off some more, I'm gonna add another layer to it. Like he just kept pissing the people off. And it's like, oh, the people hold the power because if these people decide to get a little, turn it up on you, then what? Anyways, right? Because you own land literally. For I ain't gonna say you own. You took land literally all the way from over here by Japan, all the way to Norway and Sweden. Millions and billions of people. If these people decide to turn on you, then what? Anyways, he turning it up. He like turn it up. So he already done pissed all these people off, right? We lost the war. We've lost over 1 million people, sons, fathers, just cousins. You backtracking on what you promised. We're still out here hungry. Can't do nothing. Can't like, yeah, what? Excuse me? So he's like, I'm gonna go find a holy man. I'm gonna go find a holy man to help run the ship at home. That's not really what he said, but that's just essentially what it looked like to the people. Okay. So he had 5 children, 4 daughters, 1 son. The son is the youngest. His son has hemophilia. Um, which if you don't know, it's like a blood clotting disorder where your blood doesn't clot. So they noticed this when the son was like learning to crawl and walk, that if he like fall and scraped himself, he would just bleed, 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 because the blood wouldn't clot. And he would get sick, things like that. So enter this healer, this holy man. His name is Rasputin. Great. Okay. That's him. He's in the DreamWorks movie, just so y'all know. Putting it out there. It ain't the same, but he's in there. That's how I know Rasputin. Anyways, so he gets this Rasputin holy man. This holy man, his name is Rasputin. Okay. Um, and befriends him, basically. Because Rasputin is a holy man and he's a healer and he is a spiritual man. He hires him for his healing powers, basically to the family to serve their son that has hemophilia. And so Rasputin basically begins caring for the boy, and he makes a what is it? Like I don't know, a declaration. Makes a declaration that he needs to stop the little boy. His name is Alexei. Alexei. He's like he needs to stop taking all the medication that previous doctors have given him. He's under my care now. We're stopping all this medicine, which most historians think now that one of the medicines that they were giving him was Advil, which they didn't know then that Advil causes like blood thinning side effects. It's a blood thinner, which could have been making the little boy's condition worse since he has hemophilia. So him stopping the medication actually did help him, but like it wasn't like he knew. He just said stop taking the medicine, and then boom, the little boy got a little better, and it was like, wow, he's really a holy man. Like he's amazing, basically, right? Okay, so Rasputin has Alexei under his care, and while he's under his care, he gets close with Rasputin gets close with the queen, Empress Alexandra, right? So this causes rumors to swirl. Okay, and people are like, they're having an affair because Rasputin is married as well. He's married with kids. Um, but the rumors start swirling, and now there's like free speech, right? So they're making like postcards of like inappropriate postcards of them and just all of the things. And the queen doesn't make it any better because she starts coming to his defense. She's like, "No, we're not. He's not like that." Da, 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 da. And it's like, girl, you're going a little hard for somebody that you don't really care about like that. Like, what's that, right? So she don't make it no better, right? So he gets this reputation as being a womanizer, being a drug addict, being a drunk, right? Because he's a holy man, but he's at the brothel every night, or he's a holy man, but he's at the bar every night. He's a holy man, but you sitting here having all these orgies. Like, yeah, what Rasputin ends up making a whole religion based on orgies. But we could really have a whole episode on just him himself because he is a whole character. But we're not gonna get into it. Just know. Y'all should go look him up, okay? Or let me know in the comments if you want to have a whole episode on him because we can do that. Okay, great. Because I would love to get to know more about him too because he was like, what? Anyways. Right. So he becomes this womanizer, this drunk. He doesn't care. He's still caring for the royal family. And he got the queen on his side going like, no, he's not like that. We're not having an affair. And he's not even like that. He's a good man. Okay. So it don't stop nothing, right? So he becomes her spiritual advisor. Yeah. For life. Like for everything. When I say for life, I don't mean like forever, but like, for everything. He becomes her spiritual advisor and prophesizes everything, right? He's this amazing healer and he can prophesize anything. So he gains all of this political power. Just basically just off the queen, it seems like. I mean, he's cool with the king too, but the queen is really Team Rasputin. Damn it. So he starts like getting people hired and fired, promoted, right, off of these dreams, off of these prophecies. And she's listening to him. I think the king was listening too, honestly, because I'm like, how? So as you can imagine, right, he's like hiring and firing people, pissing people off. Like, wait, excuse me? You're a healer. What are you even doing here? What are you even doing in this meeting? What are you doing? Right? Okay. Don't make no sense to me, but it makes sense to the queen. I guess that's all it needed to make sense to, and the king, I guess, because I'm sure he had to approve it for her to even allow him to be. I don't know. I don't know that situation, that dynamic. We will have to get into that too. But so in the midst of like him gaining this political power, right? Russia enters World War I. Dumbass decision, but whatever. So the army is roughly 3 to 4 million men, right? Again, over 1 million men die. Over 1 million men. The morale crumbles. The war is causing inflation. The normal things that war typically costs. Like the brunt of it on the actual country was food shortages, inflation. All of the workers go on protest again, but this time the protests are stronger, right? So the czar is like, I gotta go to the front line. Like I gotta get out there. I gotta see what's going on. I gotta make these calls, call these shots. Gotta get it done. Is what the Tsar does, right? So he goes to the front line. He leaves the dumbass queen in charge. Okay, I'm saying dumbass. Y'all gonna see why in a minute. Okay, he leaves her in charge. For what reason? I don't know. I don't know. The king is writing her letters. Hey, excuse me. Hey, this is what's going on. Don't tell anybody. What does she do? Rasputin. I'm not supposed to tell nobody. She really just went and told Rasputin all the tea that her husband told her not to say. Don't tell nobody. Why would you turn around and tell him? Oh, because he's the holy man. No, girl, dumbass. Like, what? Yes, that's what she did. She was like, he said X, Y, and Z is happening at the front line. Or something happened like within the government. She's like, Rasputin, what should I do? I don't know what to do. Lead me. That's not a quote what she said, but that's basically what happened. Lead me. Tell me what to do. And he's like, baby, this is what you do. So she listens to him like a dumbass, right? He don't know nothing about running no country. This man is a con artist, okay? He done floated from land to land off of people's donations and got a whole wife and kids at the house in Siberia. Like, and you listening, I just can't. She pissed me off with that one. Oh, she pissed me off, okay? Great. Not great, but you know. So, anyways, supposedly, he made a prophecy of writing a letter to Nicholas at the front lines, saying that if he is to be killed by noblemen, that Tsar Nicholas and his family will be no more, and the end of their dynasty will happen within 2 years' time. Rasputin does get killed by noblemen, right? Because he's having dreams and prophecies of who needs to be hired and fired and promoted and all of the things. So he pissed off. Okay, he pissed off the right people. Okay, and got killed. He got. And sure enough, the king and his family died within 2 years after Rasputin got killed. But historians are like, they still question the like authenticity of that letter with the prophecy. So, yeah, he was killed in December 1916, and the Tsar and his family were murdered in 1918. So, I don't know. Y'all think the prophecy came true? You think the letter was a fake? Most historians think the letter was a fake. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm being honest, because it's like he was so close to the political party that like he might have heard whispers of like them trying to kill him, and he might have just been like, "Let me tell the king this," and maybe the king will like increase my security or something to like protect me. Maybe this will be like a way to like secure that I get security. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, hey, look, if I die, your family gonna die. You better protect me. Or maybe I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. That's a hard one. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Because he also was like seems like a madman. So he could have really felt like, no, if I die, y'all gonna die. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't call it. But anyways, right? So it's just like so much crap all happening because the king and queen are just so disconnected, right, from real life. The wife gets so wrapped up in Rasputin, she start listening to what he's saying. The king start listening to what she and he's saying, and they just not doing nothing about the real problems out here, of the very real people that they rule over just like regular life. You know what I'm trying to say? Y'all were more wrapped up in trying to save y'all son. Not saying that y'all shouldn't be trying to save y'all son, but y'all got so wrapped up in trying to heal him and save him from his sickness that y'all didn't even care about these other people out here. And at the end of the day, you really can't even say that, because before you even had your son, you have 4 other perfectly well daughters, and y'all still didn't care about these people out here. Before y'all even had kids, y'all weren't worrying about them people out there. You know, you was out here making fake manifestos that you won't even standing on. So all of this just built up to the revolution of 1917. These Russians was over the shit. They was with the shits when it got to this time, baby. They was like, we don't care. You're gonna go down just like we been down. Got it? Got it. Good. Yeah. That's what happened. So they started having bread riots in Petrograd, Russia. They started having bread riots. The people, like, they used to wait in line, get like whatever little bit of bread they could get. They were like, this, nah. They started taking bread, snatching. I'm hungry. I'm not waiting no more. What you gonna do, right? They on that type of time. They on that type of energy. They don't even care, right? So the Tsar is like, send the military, right? The people, they come into his place. They come in with the riots and stuff. Send the military. Guess what? Guess what the military did? This. Yeah. Yeah. They joined the rioters. They were like, no protection. Go shoot at who? I'm not shooting at nobody. I'm hungry too. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you see how I bet he was looking real simple in the face. Because, excuse me, you want me to go shoot at who? The same people that's out here hungry like I am? Huh? What? No, we all down bad out here. No, I'm not. So they stopped caring about him. They stopped caring. The military switched up and joined the protesters and refused to shoot at the Protesters. So then in March of 1917, he's like, Nicholas, the Tsar, is like, I'm gonna step down. Right? So he steps down. It didn't help nothing. But, he tried. He tried to help. It wasn't what it needed to be. So when he stepped down, basically a provisional government stepped in to hold down the fort or whatever, right? So the provisional government stepped in, and the Tsar and his family went under house arrest. Yeah, which I kind of don't get, but like, was that to keep them safe, or like, why didn't they just let them go to like other family members? I don't know, but the Tsar and his family were under house arrest. Um, and the provisional government got taken over by Alexander Kerensky, which he decided to keep Russia in World War One, and that was one of the big things that the Russian people weren't supportive of, because we have all of this inflation, we're losing all of these men, like there's food shortages. Why would you keep us in the war? Like, Nicholas put us in the war, and you gonna keep us in the war? So we already done showed you that we ain't with this. So that was just like a big mistake on his part, right? So I gotta give y'all a little backstory, right? On Vladimir Lenin. So he was a Marxist. He'll make sense in a minute to the story, but he was a Marxist who split, right, from the regular Marxists. He split and made his own little thing, the Bolsheviks. Um, and they believed in a violent revolution led by a small group of elites. So Lenin, for his thinking, spent years in exile in Switzerland, Germany, other countries, writing all of these revolutionary works, right? And he was honestly just like waiting for the right moment to like seize control, seize power. So he saw an opportunity when he saw that Alexander Kerensky chose to leave Russia in World War One. So he saw that as an opportunity. He's like, boom, people of Russia pissed off. He's saying we're gonna stay in World War One. I'm about to make a move. So he busts a move. He get with Germany. He's like, yo, I'm trying to get back in Russia, seize Russia. Y'all help me out. Russia didn't want, or Germany didn't want Russia to stay in World War One. They're like, we got you. So they helped smuggle him in a sealed train. Yeah, that's what it was. In a sealed train. They smuggled him back into Russia. And so he gets in Russia and he goes to Petrograd where they just had all of these bread riots. And he arrives with this April thesis calling for peace, land, and bread. So he wanted to end the war, redistribute land, feed the people, and all power to the Soviets. So a workers' council should rule, not the provisional government. So basically, he wanted to uproot everything, feed the people, give them what they want, end the war, take care of ourselves, and all of the people, right? The workers, peasants, the soldiers, they're all like, yes, this is exactly, yes, this is what we need. This is the leadership. They're eating it up. They're eating it up. So the provisional government lost all of their support. They're like, no, you want to stay in the war. You want to basically continue on the same path that Nicholas was on. We not with it. Cut it. So they did. They were like, no, we're not doing this. So the provisional government, right? They lost all of the support in the country. The war continued. The economic downfall is still going. So by October 1917, the Bolsheviks, they basically armed workers. They called them the Red Guards, and they took over like key locations in Petrograd, which again is the place where the bread riots happened. So they take over these key locations. And on November 7th, the Bolsheviks stormed the Winter Palace and overthrew the government. It was like a bloodless coup. Like nobody stood up. They were like, cool, you got it. You got it. Y'all got it. Which way is the exit? Where do you want me to go? Yeah, type time. So they just went in there and took over, right? And so Vladimir Lenin became the head of the USSR, right? Okay. Um, so throughout all of this stuff going on, the royal family is still on house arrest. They're locked up somewhere with their workers, like doctors and like their handmaids and stuff. Like they have all of them with them. But anyways, so they're still locked up but now because the provisional government got taken over, so now they're under the Bolsheviks' control. And they're just like being moved from place to place, essentially. I don't know for what. Initially, I thought it was like for security purposes, but then it's like, well, the Bolsheviks don't like them, so why would that be for security purposes? But now I'm thinking it was more so to like prevent people from finding them and wanting to help save them. That's my thought process now. Let me know if that makes sense to y'all. Do y'all think that's? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they moved them from place to place, but they did. Okay. So Lenin pulled out of Russia, signed a treaty, lost land, but he secured the Bolshevik control, right? But like I said, he was worried about people coming to save him. I feel like he was. So in Lenin's head, he starts thinking that like, okay, if they're still alive, because I don't have the book with me, but there were like plots where people were getting like secret letters to the royal family, because they have family members out here, they're related to like Queen Elizabeth of England and like a bunch of other royals because they're royal family. So the people are getting like letters in and out of the compound that they're being moved around to. And so I think Lenin started getting worried that like somebody was going to try to break him out, or I think that he was worried that people at least had the thought that like if he's still alive, then his supporters might still feel like they have hope, right? So this really, I feel like, seems to like play in their head, and I feel like even the Romanovs were thinking that like somebody might come save us, somebody might help, because we're getting these secret letters from family members and such. People are stopping by to check on us, like we might be saved. And I feel like they're having hope, and they're having so much hope that the daughter and wives, the daughters and the wife, began like embroidering gems and diamonds into their corsets as means of payment. So if they get out, they have something that they can, pay their way to get food or transportation or whatever it is they may need. So they're like hiding the stuff in their corsets, should they get out, right? So unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, that day never came, right? So on July 17th, 1918, around midnight, the royal family was told to get up. They were being moved again. Basically, go down to this like room and wait for further instructions. So they go down to the room. That they get up, they get dressed, they go down to this room. They have their workers and stuff with them, right? um, a firing squad walks in. They open the door, and I don't have the quote that the man says, but he, I guess the leader of the firing squad says something, and it's reported that the king, Tsar Nicholas II, his last words were something along the lines of like, "You know not what you do." Excuse me, something along those lines. And then they just began shooting into the room. And again, these women have on diamond diamond corsets essentially. So they basically created their own bulletproof vests without knowing that this was happening or going to take place. And so it's reported that two of the daughters actually survived the firing squad shooting into the room, and they ended up having to be bayoneted. Bayoneted is like stabbing. It's on the end of the gun back then. Um, yeah. So the official cause of death is shooting, being shot, and bayoneted for the entire family: the king, the queen, the czar, the empress, all of their five kids, as well as their help. Basically, was all killed. Um, the doors had to be open afterwards to let it air out because they literally couldn't see in the room. There was so much gunpowder from how many shots they had let off into this room to kill everyone. So after that, after the killing, right? It's only publicized that the czar has been killed, not the entire family. So then people are like, okay, well, what about the wife? What about the kids? Where are they? The kids are innocent. They have nothing to do with this. Especially like family members are like, where are the kids? So rumors start swirling. People begin claiming that they're a part of the imperial family. A lot of people in particular are claiming to be Anastasia. Um, bro, I don't get it. Like, I guess I get it because you could be like, no, I'm a Romanov, and then maybe get some money, but like, is it really that deep? Is it really that deep to like lie? And then I don't even know. Did they have DNA testing back then? No, they couldn't have. Because I know daggone sure in the 70s when serial killers was out here, they ain't had no DNA testing. So a daggone sure no serial testing back then. I mean, serial testing, Lord, DNA testing. Yes, I don't know. I guess maybe you could just lie and be like, I'm them, and maybe people would believe you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get the purpose. Like, what are we lying for? Anyways, I don't understand lying in general, but we ain't gonna get into that. So, the remains of the Romanov family. So Nicholas II, his wife, and three of their daughters were discovered in 1979. In 2007, a second, smaller grave containing the remains of Alexei and one of his sisters ended up being confirmed to be Maria, was found. So that solved the mysteries of what happened to the rest of the family since it wasn't publicized that they were actually killed. So the daughters at the time, well, all of their kids at the time, the daughters were 22. Olga was 22. Tatiana was 21. Maria was 19. Anastasia was 17. And Alexei was 13, the sun. I'm so torn with this story, y'all. Like, truly torn, right? Like, I just, it just doesn't sit right with my spirit because I just feel like, well, let me just ask y'all, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Do you think that the fall of the Romanovs was inevitable, right? Or do you feel like this could have been avoided? Like, do you feel like history could have just like gone a whole other route? I don't know because I feel like this could have went so many different ways. Like, I feel like maybe his dad, Tsar Nicholas II, maybe his dad taught him something and he wouldn't have sucked so badly. But at the same time, it's like, even though he sucked, him really bringing Rasputin in and causing everyone to look at him, Tsar Nicholas II, causing them to look at the Empress crazy, you know, like Rasputin ruffling feathers of other noble people, that now they looking at the royal family crazy. It's like, I just feel like this could have gone so many different ways. Like, there could have been so many other outcomes of this. But it literally, like I said, was like they were like, turn it up. Like, let's add something else to make the people pissed off. Let's add something else to make them look at us crazy. Let's add something else to make them not like us. Like, there was just so many. It was like a layered cake. It was like a tiramisu cake. It was like, let's just add the layers and the layers and the layers. Why? Why? Like, y'all literally just had to show up and do y'all job. I ain't never ruled a country. Can't speak to it, can't relate. But there's always got to be a but. But I just feel like it could have been handled differently. Like, he didn't have no advisors. Like, he had to, because the one advisor told him to do the October Manifesto. He didn't have any other advisors throughout his like reign over the country to be like, no, don't do that. That's stupid. Nicholas, stop. Like, we didn't have anybody else to be like, listen, come here, sit down. Let me talk to you. We don't do that here. Like, nobody in his close circle, maybe they were, and he just didn't listen. I don't know, because it seemed like when the wife met Rasputin, she was just like, I'm listening to him. I don't know. I'm just, this story, let me tell y'all, it just really grinds my gears because you know what the problem is? Most people blame the women anyways, but I'm blaming the woman, okay? I'm blaming her because Rasputin got in the picture and it just really went way left. Like, the people looking at y'all crazy, they like, you associating with this holy man? Mm, mm. That speaks to your character, Empress Alexandra, huh? And it's like, then you look even more crazy because you jump into his defense. He would never, he's not like that. Girl, stop. Like, baby, stop. He's like that, okay? You just falling for it for whatever reason. We listen and we don't judge. But he got you. He in there. He in there and you listening. Craziness. Crazy. I don't know how I feel about this, y'all. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think because part of me feels like this was just inevitable, right? Because a great thing don't last forever. So it had to come to an end at some point. But maybe had they actually, done their jobs, maybe it could have been different. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. So just let me know what y'all think. Next week, right, we're going to be talking about some of my favorite history to talk about. So excited. We're going to be talking about the Knights Templars. Do you know who they are? Do you? Do you? They're the reason that Friday the 13th is said to be an unlucky day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Jason, y'all need to be paying the Knights Templar. Are they even still around? They could be. They could be. There's theories. There are theories. I want to tell y'all, but we ain't gonna get into it. I already talked y'all head off already enough about Romanov family. But like I said, next week, Knights Templar, Friday the 13th being very unlucky. It's an unlucky day, guys. Supposedly. Supposedly. Historically speaking. Right? Okay, great. So yeah. See you guys next week. Okay, love you. Bye.